All right, got the coffee. My Hawaii mug. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about shooting expired film and my thoughts on Fujifilm NPZ 800. Now, I know a lot of film photographers who try their hardest to steer new film photographers into buying new film in 2022. While at the same time, I agree, I also agree that we should try our hardest to buy film that is being made today because we can continue to have new film being made in the future, except for Fujifilm, jerks. I also love experimenting and shooting expired film, and the truth of it all is that I've always been enamored with the way different film stocks work. Now, I've been in love with film photography since my first experience in the photography lab in high school. I've been shooting film as a professional for the last 12 years. And for some reason, when I see someone selling a lot of film online, I almost always try and find a reason to buy even more film, when the truth of the matter is I don't need it. I have about 800 rolls I still need to shoot through. Now, about 7 years ago, a photography store in the Washington, D.C. area was going out of business and selling all the film that they had in stock. I didn't know what they had, but I bought it all, and it totaled around 900 rolls of film. I remember returning home and looking through all the assortment of 35, 120, and 220 film and thinking to myself, how in the hell am I going to shoot all of this? I then proceeded to take at least 10 rolls of film with me wherever I went, annoying the crap out of my wife because I was always tossing and turning on what camera and what film stock to bring with me. But I remember going through the film and coming across 30 rolls of Fujifilm NPZ 800. Now, I did not know much about this particular film stock, but after doing some quick research, I discovered that Fujifilm NPH and NPZ was created for portrait and wedding photographers, and then was later renamed to Fujifilm 800Z in 2005. Back, when film reigned supreme for wedding photographers, because we needed versatility of slow and fast film stocks to shoot throughout the day. It would make sense why there would be a need for both Kodak and Fujifilm to have 800 feed speed film readily available for photographers. Today in 2022, we only have about a handful of 800 color film. Kodak Portrait 800 and Cinestill 800T. There may be a few more available, but I personally am not aware of it. And if you know of a few, please drop the names in the comment section so that way I can check them out. I bought some expired Fuji NPZ 800 that expired way back in 2002 with me to a wedding a few months ago. Now, the general rule of shooting expired film is to overexpose at least one stop for every decade it has expired. Since it had already been almost 2 decades, I decided to set my contact 645 to 200 and shoot away. Now, Fuji NPZ is known to have vivid, true-to-life colors, and boy, did this film not disappoint. I remember ensuring that every shot I took was in excellent, even light, and that the couple was always had the sun behind them or off to the left or to the right. I never shot it with the sun facing them directly. I also shot a few frames close to a window, and even those came out were just dope. After the wedding, I packaged up the film, not knowing precisely what to expect. Still, I was confident, super confident, that my exposure of each frame was precisely where it needed to be because I had checked with my handheld meter and then double checked again with the camera's light meter. It's like one of those things where you measure twice and cut once with each click of the camera. In fact, with the rising cost of film photography, every photographer should invest in a good light meter. I'm digressing. I was surprised at the lack of the grain in many of these images for a couple of reasons. First is that grain can sometimes be problematic for expired film, at least in my experience. I have seen grain in most of my scans when shooting expired film. However, the Fuji NPZ 800 stated that it had fine to low film grain, and even still, I was surprised by a film stock that had expired almost 20 years ago that there was no film grain. The other thing that shook me when looking at my film scans is that Fuji generally leans towards the bluer side than the warmer side for skin tones, but this film stock was quite a bit warm in the skin tones. It was not an issue it was just surprising to me considering what I normally get from my Fujifilm 400H film scans. Now, as a photographer, I'm always open to shooting different stuff and seeing how it works. It can be an expensive and frustrating experience when you're shooting with expired film, especially when your expired film turns out to be muddy and you get absolutely unusable scans. If you're thinking about shooting some expired film, I will encourage you to go out and try and do so, and try to shoot it in even lighting with equipment that you are certain functions correctly. Listen, nothing sucks more than spending money on expired film, then developing it and having it scanned to find out that it was your camera that you shot with that was a problem, not the film. So if you're thinking about shooting expired film, I would recommend it, but I would recommend it with some caution. And what I mean by caution is I mean that you want to make sure that your camera is operating perfectly, that every shutter speed is operating flawlessly. 2, it's kind of a gamble. You may not get film scans that look like mine. You may not get these awesome like Fujifilm 800Z film scans that I have with 20-year-old film. You may get a muddy mess depending upon how the film was stored prior to you purchasing it. Now, I was lucky because I bought my film from a photo lab. They were they were storing their film properly, but not everyone does. Some people store their film in heat, and heat can actually ruin film. So you may want to make sure that if you're buying expired film, that you buy it from someone who has kept it in a cool place, either in the freezer or in a fridge, or somewhere that doesn't get super, super hot, like, I don't know, someone's garage, or something like that. And it's always keen when you're buying expired film to ask questions. Just don't get excited because you found cheap film. Ask questions like, how was it stored? When was the last time you shot with it? And if you can, bring a camera with you, put some film in it, and shoot a couple rolls in front of the person of just whatever. It could be the person's garage, it could be the ground, it could be the car, just so that person knows that you are taking what you're buying seriously. So like I said, it's a gamble buying expired film, but you can still get fantastic results today. And Fuji NPZ 800 and Fuji 800Z is still a great film if you can find it and if it was stored properly. But yeah, that's all I really got for you guys today. I'm gonna drink my coffee here because it's actually quite cold in Florida today. It is 55 degrees and I'm leaving coffee marks all over my white desk. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.